Hello, it's AD again, and I'm bringing you guys the weekly reading for the Twin Flame Consciousness and Collective. I'm kind of decided to use that word Twin Flame Consciousness because, I mean, it's kind of that, to be honest. Um, it's been an interesting week. I can say for sure that there's been a lot of darkness going on for the past 2 weeks, maybe. A lot of shadow work, maybe. A lot of issues coming up for me. I've also had dreams that sort of suggest sort of issues with my animals, my masculine, like inner masculine. And that was actually read from a professional psychologist and a person who is specialized in interpreting dreams. And when I told him my dream, he said that my masculine, my inner masculine, my animals has a problem with his spirituality. And I found that very interesting because, well, it is true. And my own inner masculine has been coming up a lot lately. I also have other like people telling me they have such dreams with a masculine, which is a mirror projection of their inner masculine. And I find this very interesting because I've been feeling sort of the masculine stepping up, and I think we can all feel it inside of us. So let's just see what's the feminine dealing with for the upcoming week. What's the feminine dealing with for the upcoming week? Cards don't want to pop out today. That's interesting. Okay. What's the feminine dealing this week? What's the feminine dealing with? What are the energies surrounding the feminine for the upcoming week? On that one. And we'll just go out and pull for the masculine. What are the energies surrounding the masculine? What energies the masculine is dealing with? And this goes, for your inner masculine, your inner feminine, regardless what you identify with, you have both. That's important to remember. So, okay, on the bottom of the deck we have trapped in fear, which sort of verifies the things that everyone's been feeling lately. This sort of like fear stuff coming up, and just generally feeling stuck and unable to move, unable to change things, feeling like a victim. But this card always reminds us that we're not victims. We put ourselves there, and we can always change the situation, even though it might be hard. But okay, what's the feminine dealing with this week? Wow. It's just wow. Let me try to change the angle. I'm trying new stuff here. So this is. Let me try to clean up. That's why I'm not using this angle, because of all my junk here. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, so those are the energies that the feminine is dealing with for the upcoming week. And well, first we start with firm foundation, which to me sort of speaks that things might be a little rough right now, and we have to find our own strength. We need to find our own foundation and build something that won't be shaken. Wow, that's interesting. It kind of, I don't know why, but this energy feels very masculine to me, and it's kind of mind-bending that it comes on the feminine side, because it feels very masculine to me. Obviously, the divine feminine is dealing with some sort of confusion. We have mental conflict here. We have the card of spiritual union. So it's almost like the feminine is contemplating some sort of a connection. The feminine is sort of thinking like, there's just a lot of contemplation happening for a certain connection, and there is a lot of confusion, obviously. This guy, he's just going in frenzy mode, and we have the Two of Pentacles. It's like being unable to make a certain decision, because mental conflict is another two, and that's the Two of Swords, and we have the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Cups. So there's a lot of twos, and the two is usually about it's a union number, but also it's a number of choices. We also have the infinity symbol here, so it sort of speaks of, to me, it sort of speaks of finding balance, because we have the firm foundation. So it's almost like we're learning to balance something that's been very challenging for us and very confusing, and it's like, it's almost like we're learning to only do our part and not take up on things that are not ours and not our responsibility or obligation. And it's like we're leaving this confusion behind, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's my job here? Um, you know, to the point where you feel everything falls on your shoulders. Maybe that's why we have this card here, trapped in fear, because it's like, I can't do all of this, you know? Um, and this goes to, you know, because the feminine is the more aware energy of both. And usually, what I've noticed for many, many years, it's sort of been like the feminine's job to make the union happen and bring this sort of like rebirth and change and transformation for the collective and for the masculine collective. It's like, oh, here, let me help you, you know, because I kind of get it. Like, you know, if you can't do it, you should do it. But there comes a point where this needs to end, it needs to stop. And I feel like the feminine is sort of retreating back and finding her own firm foundation, her own stability, and not sort of like falling a victim of, you know, those illusions and confusions and so many choices. You know, what do I do? What do I choose? How do I approach this? Oh my god, I don't know, I'm getting confused, this is stressful. It's sort of like a card of anxiety to me, especially on this side. And with this Two of Pentacles here, it's like I don't know why, but he kind of looks to me like the happy fool, like, hey, look at me, jungle, woo. But it's more speaking of you know, this is what I can do, and that's what I will do. You know, I can't do more. Like, I cannot juggle more than two pentacles. So that's what I'm going to focus on, and the rest is just out of my concern. So there feels like sort of like the energy of, you know, kind of like reclaiming back, you know, what's yours. Just bringing your focus back to yourself in your life rather than thinking, how do I help this person or how do I fix this person or whatever. It's entirely up to you and for you. And now we have mental conflict. Hermit. Huh. So there could be, okay, there could be a bit of an energy of a mental conflict going on for the upcoming week. I feel it's mostly playing out what's already been resolved. I really don't feel that this is future energy that's going to be persistent. I just feel it's sort of like observe it, don't really attach to it, don't really fall a victim. Don't fall a victim to your mental thoughts and your process, because I feel this is what you could be feeling is sort of like playing out a decision you've already made or your higher self has already made, and this could very well be some form of spiritual union. So you don't have to really dig too deep into it and drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out. It's most like trust, because this side of the card, usually in the traditional tarot, it doesn't have that much deeper meaning, but in this deck, oh boy, let me read to you what the creators of this deck meant for this card. It's very interesting. Listen, your higher self is tapped into noble intentions now, and all should flow smoothly. Work with experts or a team to find the best way to use your resources for the greatest good. If you are the one in need of assistance, there are people in power who are ready to pitch in and support your endeavor. All the elements are coming together in their proper order. Yes, that's the thing. That's what I said. Like, that's what I felt. It's like your higher self has finally made a decision for you, and you don't need to go into this energy to try to figure it out. You just need to trust and just trust and walk your path. That's it. And we have the Hermit here, he's already coming out of his cave, and you know, he has the light in his hand, and you see here the moon has a feminine's face inside, which is almost like almost like the divine feminine is guiding the way. It's illuminating the darkness for the masculine, maybe. And that also goes for your inner masculine. It almost speaks of harmony, of bringing harmony with your inner anima and animals. You know, they're starting to dance together, to flow together into this balanced act rather than being in conflict. Because we have so many twos here, and twos are also about balance. Six of Pentacles speak of balance as well. And this is really powerful reading, actually. I really do think that this is just sort of like leftovers energy that you shouldn't be focusing on, because I do feel that your higher self made already some sort of decision to move into a certain direction that's for your highest good. And it's all about timing right now. Really, it's all about timing, because I feel like a choice has been made. And this might have to do with some form of spiritual union. You know, it will be different for everyone, I think, because there's no same path or no path alike really. But you know, it almost feels like, yeah, this is definitely speaking. I mean, come on, like we have spiritual union, we have a feminine and a masculine sort of like coming in together, and you know, there's this perfect flow being created between them in one cup, and we see this in every card pretty much. Like we have here the infinite symbol, the two, we have here the balance, like everything is coming together in order. It feels like a choice has been made in a way. But let's see, let's clarify. It feels really positive to me. Um, you know, I try not to claim physical unions with other people because I think everyone has their own timing, and it's gonna be different for everyone. So, you know, I don't think my viewers will get disappointed, but still, I try to not focus on that too much because I don't think that's the point really. But it's definitely positive because it does show internal union. Okay, the star card really wanted to show up, and I'm gonna read it from both sides because it came up, like I saw it twice while shuffling on both sides. And the star card really, it does speak of many things. It does speak of healing, like a major healing, like clearing blockages and traumas that you've had from past lives or from childhood or whatever you believe in. It doesn't really matter. It's something that's almost like been hunting you for a lot of time, and now it's like we're finally clearing the path and just bringing this major healing. It also speaks of alignment, like things are finally getting into alignment. I really want to read both sides of this card because I feel like they're both very important in this reading. For this side, they say, the star is a card of hope even in the depths of despair. Come what may, the star will keep shining. The ibis and the katia are both signs of healing bestowed by the gods. Whatever your beliefs are, renew your faith and trust. Your destiny is written in the stars, and indeed you yourself are made of stardust. So I think this is a very beautiful combination with the spiritual union card because it's almost like saying, like, believe, like renew your beliefs of this spiritual union, that it is possible and it will happen. The stars now are supporting, the divine now are supporting this renewal of faith and belief because it means you're ready. It means you have healed enough traumas and enough pains and heartbreaks and blockages for you to be able to renew your faith and belief into something new, or maybe just reinforce an old belief. And on this side, it's really beautiful. It says, a breakthrough is coming, more powerful than you imagine or dare to hope. Everything is falling into place. We saw this in this card as well. It says that everything is coming into place in the right order as it's meant to. Harmony is being restored. Your task now is to receive the flowing blessings with a thankful heart. When you heed the calling of your higher self, you can expect miracles. So I do kind of feel that everyone is a bit like tapping, like the feminine is tapping into the higher self and into just this. It's funny because look, there's like a masculine figure here, and they mentioned the higher self, so it's possible that they're implying that this man is her higher self, which sort of, you know, speaks of the duality in this world, of the yin and yang, animus and anima, masculine and feminine, which is very beautiful. And the Knight of Swords sort of like came up with the star card on that side, and it's an interesting message, I would say the least, with the Knight of Swords, because on this side they say, the Knight's cloak and the horse's trapping. Well, I'm trying to read because, you know, they're explaining a lot of the symbolism, and it might be very significant for some of you. Like you might find a certain sign in the interpretations for the card itself. So it says, a knight in armor rides among storm clouds, his steed rushing forward in a mode of attack. The knight's cloak and the horse's trappings are dull red, the color of dried blood. The trappings bear the elemental symbol for air in front and water behind. Air stands for intellect and water for emotions. This is a person who puts emotional concerns in the back seat, which is why we can't see his face. His first impulse is always to argue and rush in to take over an endeavor, certain that he knows best. His horse symbolizes a barely tamed nature, still wildly impulsive. Until he learns to control, he could be a danger to himself and others. He's a fighter, not a lover. What an interesting message, right? What an interesting message. Well, the star card is usually Aquarius, which is an air sign, and the Knight of Swords is also air sign, so this could be somehow significant, although the Two of Cups is water. And, It's possible. Oh, wow, we have Ace of Cups. That's interesting. It says the Knight of Swords is not a lover, he's a fighter. But we have, this comes up with love cards, like spiritual union, the Star, Ace of Cups. What is he doing here? To me, it almost feels like he's a fighter for love, you know? Because to be honest, I've sort of been feeling this way. Like, I see so many people that sort of give up on love, like, and all they seek is sort of like just convenient partnership, and that's really driving me crazy. But you know, it's their choice in the end. But it makes me sad. It makes me sad because that's not what I want. And you know, real love takes a fight. It takes passion and it takes fight. And this is what the message be here, that you know, the divine feminine is sort of like taking in this initiative of being the fighter to fight for her beliefs, fight for her fate, and not let it be taken away from her by external obstacles or people, or you know, just everything. And be this fighter, just keep the belief, keep the faith. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the masculine side and see what's going on with them. Masculine side. 699. Isn't that the Tesla numbers? That's interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a clarifier for this chakra card because it's hard for me to read them on their own. And we have the Triumph, which is a chariot, and third eye chakra. Third eye chakra has to deal really with creativity, imagination, and without it, we cannot really have our dreams achieved. You know, if you don't dream, you won't have a pathway to move forward. If you don't imagine and envision stuff, you won't have a path to move forward, because you know the walking creates the path. And this is normal. The masculine struggles with this because the masculine naturally is much more practical and grounded, and not so much imaginative and intuitive, and you know, all of these things that the feminine naturally is. So I feel like there's a very hardcore swap of roles, and it's like the masculine now is being sort of like guided to or forced to become this. It depends really on the individual. Is being sort of like guided to you know, be a bit more imaginative, be more in their space, because we have Solitude, which is the Hermit card, and we also have the Moon. So there is mirroring for sure, because oh my god, wait for it. See this? I knew the Moon would come up. Like, I just freaking knew it. This is the Hermit, this is the Hermit, and this is the Moon. And we see it combined in this card. We have the Moon guiding the Hermit. So there's a lot of guidance happening with the masculine. Their higher self is guiding them. Their anima is guiding them. Their inner feminine is guiding them to sort of like face some sort of darknesses and face certain truths. Like, find the inner truth inside of them. It's lighting the way. They're facing some sort of shadows and just a bit of introverted energy, let's say. But let's get back to the Triumph and the third eye chakra. What is that about? We have Strength. The Emperor. Wow. Wow, okay. So I really do feel they're being forced into this. Could feel very, very uncomfortable for some, because they're fighting certain shadows and certain things that they didn't know were inside. But this side of the Emperor is very interesting because it sort of speaks of esoteric knowledge, because we have the Tesseract here. But let me read what it says. You bear responsibilities well, and you can be justifiably proud of what you have accomplished. But the strictness with which you go about your duties is taking a toll on you. Not everything has to be set in stone. Leave some room for growth and change. If you're afraid to face the darker parts of yourself, oh my god, you won't be able to help others with their own darkness. I'm getting shivers. Like, why? Thank you, universe, for making those readings so good. This is crazy. Yeah, I do feel that it's because this is the natural signifier of the masculine. This is the Emperor. But on this side, as I, oh my god, it's crazy how everything ties so well. It's sort of saying, like, with this third eye chakra and this side of the Emperor, it's almost like loosen up and go within. You need to face certain shadows and darknesses inside if you want to progress, if you want to grow, if you want to be able to imagine, if you want to be able to be free. You need to face those shadows and deal with them and move forward, to know, to find the truth, to to follow your path, to have this inner wisdom, you need to go within and find, face your darkness and not be afraid. And with the strength card, it obviously speaks of courage, to actually face this, face their inner demons, because it's something I just saw 2222 on the recorder, by the way, so but I feel like this is something the masculine will be facing with the upcoming week. Either being guided to or being forced, it depends really, to go within and sort of like take time for themselves and just isolate themselves for a moment, to have space and have time for themselves to really deal with this energy here, because it's quite intense. It's very internalized energy. Kind of feel like the feminine's energy is a bit more externalized, but the masculine's is more internalized. So there's sort of like a switch of roles again. And we have another king. Oh my god, and the sun. Oh wow, that reading is just insane. I was going back to the Emperor because I remember there was some meaning of the symbolism. Yeah. Okay. Look what it says about the symbols. He draws his power from the source he symbolized on his throne, the renewing energy of the sun, the alchemical soul force of Sulphurus, which is this, and the embracing moons of the feminine power embodied by the Empress. So a lot of cards to me are starting to speak of finally mutual work. Like, it's no more me versus you, it's more like we work together. My masculine and my feminine work together to create me as a higher being. And that's like both sides are coming to this understanding, which will eventually be externalized and manifested on the outside. But, it's not the important thing right now, because it will happen. It will happen, but we have to get to there. That's the thing. And solitude. We have an earthly king here, King of Pentacles, which usually earth signs are a bit more introverted. But it sort of feels like, the masculine is trying to reach this state of this stable king here. This stable king who is happy on his own, He's happy with what he has. He's satisfied with the things he has. And it's like the masculine is being guided to really look for this within. Like, you cannot find this externally. This feeling does not come from material possessions. It's just an internal feeling. It almost feels like a merge of the the child self and the mature self that create a perfect balance. It's overall very positive, because it almost feels like the masculine is finding happiness within. Even though the energies feel challenging, it feels almost like the masculine is acing it. Like, there's no more, why me, I don't want to do it. It's like they're doing it. They're just getting down to the dirty work, because the King of Pentacles is also a hard worker. And it feels like the masculine is really motivated and doing it. It's like, okay, I know that I need to learn some lessons, so let's just do this. Let's just do this. Let's just do the inner work and let's just learn the lessons. And what's the moon here for? What's the moon here for? Yeah, the Seven of Swords actually fell on the ground, but I didn't want to pick it up because I hadn't asked a question yet, but that doesn't seem to matter. Oh my god. And we have the Chariot on the bottom of the deck, and which is the Triumph card, this card. And we have Justice from the side, which speaks of justice, of injustice being done. We have, like, the moon is a very feminine card. This is the anima, this is your feminine, the female beginning, the feminine beginning. We have Ten of Swords here with the Lovers, which is very self-explanatory in a way. It speaks of sort of like going back in the past, in the shadows, and seeing the things we have denied, the things that hurt us, the things that betrayed us, and the things that just failed. And it almost feels like the masculine is going there, in this dark place, because there's obviously still something to be learned. There's a lesson that's not been learned there. Yeah, there's a lot of fears here, because this is, I don't know, with the Knight of Cups and the Lovers and the Ten of Swords, it almost feels like what went wrong, like just going over the past and sort of like reviewing the situation and what happened and how it could have been better or why it failed. Like, things are just going over the masculine's mind, and it almost feels like there's a desire for this, this new journey and you're beginning in love, but there's just way too much shadows right now, way too much hurt. And, see, the sun is hidden. The sun is hidden. It's not ready to be out again. The sun is hidden by the moon. Oh my god, this is so literal. See, there's an eclipse. The moon is hiding the sun. This is the sun. This is the clarifier that came for the solitude. It's like this is within, and the moon is sort of hiding the sun. So it's not time yet. This is happening internally, and it will take a bit of time to happen externally. And I think that's fine. But it's a very positive energy, and there's so much symbolism happening with my cards. It's just crazy. Okay, I'm back. I had to have a little pause because I ran out of memory and I had to transfer the video. But anyways, the energy feels very intense and very promising. And I wanted to sort of like have one more draw to see what's the union energy. What is the union energy? And you can take this as it is. I'm sorry for the junk on my screen, but it is what it is. Oh, okay, 2 cards pop up. I'm gonna take 3 because why not? What's the union energy? Wow, that's interesting. As I said, you can take this as it is. Oh, on the bottom of the deck we have heart chakra, which is interesting. It's you see this here, emotional loss. This is the heart chakra, and he's sort of like holding this to his heart. So there's that feeling of loss and separation in a sense. There is also some moving on energy, moving on from the darkness into the light, and moving on to something better, to moving on to triumph and success. This card also deals with just epiphanies, like aha moments, like, oh, okay, I get it now. But let's get more information. We have temperance for moving on. So yeah, it feels like reconciliation to me. It feels like, oh my god, why so many cards are flying? It feels like moving on from just what no longer serves, you know, moving on from the hurt, the pain, the past. Yeah, and we have the Magician. This is somehow, this is 1-1, so it kind of ties with the Ace of Swords, the Triumph and Success card, because it speaks of this, just the realization that we create our own destiny, our own fate, and our own reality. So it's just the realization to be mindful of what we're really creating. Yeah, and I feel like there is a realization coming that maybe it's almost like there's being way too much focus on both sides, on the wrong things, on the wrong side. And it almost feels like, you know, one side has been focusing too much on the material aspect of things, while the other side has been focusing too much on the non-material aspects. And it's like the energies are trying to balance themselves out, to balance each other out in a way. Because this side is actually talking of, it's very much, it's similar to the Magician card when it comes to meaning. It just says that, you know, this wizard knows that if he wants to build something on the outside, he needs to seek for the magic within, and, you know, to pour non-physical things like love and creation and beauty, which come from within, really. And it feels like this is somehow just helping the union energy. Wow. Oh my god, the moon again is coming out again. So we have two. This is a very feminine card. It almost feels like this experience of emotional loss, this feeling of emotional loss. Now, keep in mind, this does not have to be an actual loss. Like, it's just a feeling. It's just something we feel that we've lost. But, you know, it does not have to be a real loss. Sometimes it's just an illusionary feeling of losing something or someone. And it's usually a temporary feeling, but it's what's been happening for the past, like, this card has been coming up for the past few readings that I've done. So apparently it's an active energy in the collective. But we have the Two of Swords on this side, and what it says, it's beyond the self-defense mentioned on the other side. This is a good time to enhance your peace of mind through meditation and other contemplative practices. Having such skills will enable you to ride out the storms with the serenity until calmer conditions prevail. So this energy sort of came up on the masculine side, the, you know, the going within, the facing shadows and darkness, and sort of like the initiation into your subconsciousness is bringing forward certain pains and hurts from the past. We did see the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords and the emotional loss card sort of go hand in hand. It does speak of, when you dive into your subconsciousness, certain things start coming out, certain memories or feelings that need to be dealt with. But however, you see the huge moon here again. It's like double moon. It's like, and now the time is not to act, but sort of keep going within and keep finding ways to keep yourself grounded, because obviously the time is such now that it's not very favorable for action. No sort of action. It's like it's sort of saying like calm down and just go with the flow. Don't get yourself attached to the unknown, to the confusion, to the darkness, to the shadows. Just let it fly. Let it show you what it wants to show you, and just let it slide, and wait till the circumstances are better for something else, for some sort of action. Wait till the energies change, basically. And so right now, this is the union energy. That's what's helping the internal and external union. The need to move forward to a better place, to into the light, and to reconcile certain aspects of ourselves, maybe, or reconcile with people as within so without. As the more we reconcile with ourselves, the more we reconcile with others and clear karma. The more we start to understand people and be open to them, and not sort of like judge them or be in bad terms with them. And as this journey is about love and connections, it's not only about one specific person. It is also about every other person in our lives. So it's sort of saying like, be mindful of what you're creating, and try to create only for the best. But I feel like the collectivists already are creating this new beginning. It's sort of being created already. And with this triumph and success card, yeah, see, we have the Six of Swords again, which is this card. So we have a lot of repeating cards today, but it's sort of saying like, move on to a better place, to calmer waters. Move to calmer waters. Things now might be crazy in your personal life or your everyday life, but it's gonna get better. I promise, it's gonna get better. We're moving towards a better direction. We're moving towards our goals and our dreams, and it's important to remember that we create physically from within. It's important to keep remembering this and just sort of be in touch with what are we truly creating. And it feels like this is happening both with the masculine and the feminine. The energies are being mirrored. So if you're going within, your counterpart is doing the same. It doesn't matter if you know them or not, they're doing the same. So there's this mirrored energy of, just, it feels very calm, it feels very, a bit lazy even. It's an energy of, just waiting it out. That's what I'm feeling. It's just waiting it out until things become more clear and more illuminated, and when we sort of get the green light to go and to act and to, start creating. But now it feels more like contemplating energy, and more like just going with the flow, just like you're in this boat and you're just sort of floating. You're floating and you see whatever this water takes you. But it's definitely calmer waters. We have so much water energy in this reading. Look at this, it's all water energy, and it really feels like, and the water is calm. In the three cards, the water is calm. Like here is not, it's stormy, but here it's calm. And the moon, and it's night, and the moon is illuminating the way. And a lot of people get very scared when such huge transitions happen, because you don't see the path. It's still dark and you don't see nothing on the horizon but water. So it almost feels like this eternal path. Like, when does it ever gonna end? Like, when am I ever gonna reach my destiny? But it's sort of saying like, it's not for you to focus on that now. It's sort of for you to focus on the now, and on the journey itself, and on the moving on itself, and just keeping your state of mind very clear, very calm. And yeah, that's I feel like that's what's happening on both sides, really. That's why this comes as the union energy, because both sides are forced to move into calmer waters, and for things to calm down and things to be cleared, so that there can be some sort of resolutions and just better things happening, basically. So I'm gonna pull just one oracle card from the deck I created. Do. We have do. And we have one more card. And soon. Do soon. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, soon we will be allowed to act and do something. But not now. Just not. Now is not the time to actually act. It's gonna happen soon, but not now. Do soon. Do soon. It's just not. Yeah, that's what it's saying. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you for watching. And generally, the next week, just try to chill, bring your focus on you, and just have the best time you can. And we'll see how things change for the next week. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Also, I wanted to say I'm super grateful for all of my, not many followers, but I feel personal connection with all of them, even though I don't know you, but the fact that you subscribe to me feels like you resonate with me, and that's very meaningful to me, and it makes me very happy that I can share my own path and my sort of like not triumphs, but how do I say, like my awakenings and my epiphanies with someone, and someone resonates with them. And I am really grateful that there are people who resonate with this way of thinking, of sort of like um, focusing more within rather than without, and trying to change our external life from within rather than keep focusing on someone else and waiting, and all of this dark side of the journey. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you. And okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. Okay, thank you. Bye.